Hello, hello. I'd like to say it's been another fine day, but it's not. It's gloomy, overcast, cloudy, and frankly quite horrible today. I think we're well in the middle of autumn now. Summer has moved on. Anyway, work must continue. I probably sound a bit muffled today because I'm just getting over a quite nasty cold I had. Today we're going to start on the insulation in the inside of the van. Oh, on a note, the issue I had with the battery going flat narrowed it down to the driver's side door loom. Fortunately, it is plug and play, so I can get a new door loom. They're about 90 quid. And I just got to strip down the door card and install it. I might even make a video on that. Right, let's get started.
Yep.
Right, the insulation we're going to be using is a 10mm closed cell foam insulation. Basically, I'm going to cut that and cover all the exposed metal that is on the exterior of the van. I have my wonderful assistant. I've also got a basically recycled plastic bottle insulation to fill any gaps once you put the boards back on. And I've also got some, I can't remember call it, dodo something, which is just fluffy insulation that you can push into any cavities that you might want to fill. Obviously with the insulation, it can be tricky to do in these vans because unless you actually cover up your spars and stuff like that, then they'll act as a thermal bridge, conduct cold from the outside of the van, and you'll get condensation on them. So that's a problem I'm going to address as and when I come to it. Some people talk about putting a vapor barrier on them. I'm half and half in that one, because I work with vapor barriers, and if they're not 100%, they can actually be a problem because any moisture that does get behind them will stay behind them and can cause corrosion to the van. I think we'll cross those bridges when we come to them. So yeah, this cuts all right with scissors. And it's got kind of little squares on it so you can see where you're cutting. So you can keep your lines nice and straight. It's not cutting as well as I'd hoped actually. It's a little awkward.
It's because you're cutting it down like that. You need to lie it flat.
I don't think that'll help really. See, I told you about to lie it flat. Obviously, the closer fit we can get this, the better, because it will reduce any warm air touching any cold parts of the van. But even if it's not perfect, we are going to stick other insulation in there anyway. You might want to move your fingers. Oh, got a little bit off kilter there. There we go.
Oh.
What?
What about the boards that were in there? Can't you use that as a template?
Not exactly. The boards are slightly bigger than the actual bare metal here, and the boards will come out to about here. See, this will be under the boards. Okay, just wonder if I should be doing this with a Sharpie actually. It seems marking it with a Sharpie is the way to go. It's a little awkward to feel where the bends are. I have a rough idea where I'm going. I'm cutting everything a little bit bigger than I think because I'd rather smush it in than have too small of a gap. I'm going to have to get some aluminium tape to basically seal over any joins, which we're inevitably going to have, especially in harder to do places. But for the time being, this will do nicely. All right, just follow this edge down. that there. See, this part here is raised about 10 mil off the external shell, so I'm not too worried about that, because air, believe it or not, when it's not moving, does make a good insulator. This is probably one of the more time-consuming elements of doing a conversion, is doing your insulation, because obviously you want it done properly. Probably gonna be a little big, because last one's going to be a bit awkward to cut. I thought I'd do it in stages. I can probably smush that in there.
Yeah, that can be smushed in.
Yeah, there we go.
Might try it on the other side now, out of curiosity. It'll be the other way around, won't it?
Nope, doors are different sizes. So if I pull all the sticky backing off and try and do it in one go, it's going to be a nightmare. So what I'm going to do is pull a little bit off.
It lines up first.
That comes slightly over, but I'm not too concerned about that. It's actually way stickier than I expected it to be. Let's swish this in. To be honest, I don't mind it being slightly over. The more the merrier. There we go. Ain't pretty, but it'll do the job nicely.
Number one done.
Yeah, problem with bits like this, because you've got other stuff in the way, you'll probably have to do it in smaller bits. That's why you need the aluminium tape to join the seals to stop any warm air getting in. But yeah, first one done. Kerry pointed out a useful little trick. I found that when I push the insulation into here and push it up against this edge, it actually leaves an indentation in the paper in the back, which I can follow with a Sharpie and cut it out to size. That's quite a useful tip. As you can see, she's very proud of herself.
I am.
Again, one side first. Thanks to Kerry's little tip, it is actually a really good fit. It's awkward to get in. There we go. A little bit over, but that's not too bad. Beautiful. Right, with the bottom section of the back doors, they did have a membrane over them, a bit like the side door. The reason they have that is because these parts are actually designed to let a certain amount of water in through the likes of the door handles and the number plate bolts and stuff like that. They do let some water in. You can't really stop that happening. So rather than put the closed cell insulation here, I'm going to put the loose fill plastic insulation in. I wouldn't recommend using something like rock wool for something like that. The insulation has got to be basically non-hygroscopic, so basically doesn't hold water. So because this is going to be a wet area, I'm going to put some loose fill plastic insulation in here instead. So I'm not going to put the closed cell on these. Right, I'd just like to point out, when you see videos of people like insulating their vans, they make it look so easy when they time lapse it and there's like boop, 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 boop all over the place. It's not, it's horrible. To be fair, everyone told me it's a horrible job to do and it's difficult, and they weren't lying. It's a nightmare. I think what I've come to conclusion is I'm going to cut it in smaller bits and just join them together and then tape over the edges. It makes it much easier.
Like our shoddy work
Yeah,
there.
like our shoddy patchwork there. One thing I do like, for the most part in this van, Ford have, where they've got bridges like this, instead of the bridges going direct to the outside, they got like a layer like a putty adhesive under there separating the two. So you got no thermal bridge. So the more places Ford have done that, the better. Makes our job easier on the internal metal. You got less heat conduction. So yeah, that's a rough idea. I do this most of the way. Up there.
The stuff is just so sticky as well.
Yeah, you can cut it nice to size, and then you peel it off and you go and you find it catches on all the edges and stuff, and you can't like poke it under. It is tricky. And this, make sure this is going to be a fit. It is. There we go. It's not a bad fit. So I'm careful, I can kind of peel the bottom off, jimmy it in, and then reach behind it and pull the rest of it up. That sort of works. Now I can put this in without catching on anything. Nope, like that. Yeah, Let's put it there. I know it's off, so we'll put up again. Yeah, I don't care what it looks like under here. Be as messy as you want, as long as it's overlapping and keeping the air out, then it's all hunky-dory.
Oh, you'll be keeping the air out.
It will.
You should play to the vanguards.
Yep. There we go. All right, we fill these voids. How big is that void? About that. Look at this.
No measurements like that never work out.
Yeah, they're close enough.
Your hand always moves.
Like I said, it can overlap.
Yeah, overlapping's better than underlapping.
Exactly.
Is underlapping an actual word?
I don't know, but I do get the meaning. I'm sure anyone watching gets the meaning.
You know, yeah, I'm making up words.
Yeah. Underlapping gives you gaps to fill. Overlapping doesn't.
Yep.
It just means that these spiders that are living behind there will think, oh, that's messy. But we won't see it because it'll be covered over. And do we care what the spiders think? No, we don't. Exactly.
I don't like them. They scare me.
Okay, now I gotta get this in without touching anything. Do you remember that game where you have the little metal ring and you've got to follow the wire, and if you touch it, it goes beep? That's like what this is. It's the same sort of thing. You've got to get it in so that when you touch it, it doesn't beep. It just sticks to it. You end up with this horrible mushy mess. So you don't really want that.
Imagine how many people would have got shot in Squid Games if this was.
Oh yeah.
To stick one of these
This was a challenge in Squid Games. Nobody would win the money.
So.
Yeah, I've left a little gap there. Like I said, I don't have any silver tape at the moment, but eventually I'll be going over all joints with silver tape just to minimize air movement. Sucks working with a cold. I can feel my nose running.
Mind you, it is cold today. It's very cold today.
Yeah. Feels proper autumny. You know when you get that smell in the air? That,
more winter than autumn.
Yeah, when you get that wintry smell in the air, the sort of like crisp, slightly acrid air. That's what we've got today. Smells like winter. Smells like despair.
So much concentration.
In Squid Games, it's been shot 19 times.